Good morning. It's really nice to be here. I'm Alvaro. I'm working. I'm marketing manager, but also the design thinking practitioner in a company called BitBoost. We are doing some kind of a blockchain application for e-commerce, and also working as a consultant for other blockchain companies. Always applying my expertise on digital business, design thinking, and business development and marketing, etc. So today we're talking about business models and business model design for the blockchain. This is something that is really interesting in my opinion, but not everybody is talking about that. And I think that in this brief introduction, I would like to explain to you the basics of design for business, and also to introduce a basic framework to start working with. This is work in progress, okay? So I'm open to every kind of suggestions, and you can ask whatever you want at the end, and maybe we can continue the conversation later on. I think that right now the blockchain ecosystem is focused mostly on the technology, but we need to start thinking about the customers and to start thinking about designing things for the customers. Okay. And designing is about creating value for the customers. Most of the most important, most interesting digital companies right now creating the products we love. These companies are creating a great value because they are customer-centered. And I think that in the blockchain we need desperately to do that, because right now most of the applications for blockchain are basically crappy applications because there is no real value. There is no real value for the customer. Nobody's going to use that because it's offering nothing. And probably if you think about Dropbox, Google, Apple, even the Chinese companies, all these companies have already built in all the capabilities to run a customer-centered design process. Customer-centered basically in the digital world means that... Louder? Okay, thanks. Customer-centered in the digital world means basically addressing customer needs, to create the product that helps customers to do whatever they want to do. And this is what providing significant value means. What kind of value can we provide? I think that value is a overused word. We can think about financial value, we can think about customer value. So probably you will find that people are using different definitions of value. And right now, using this framework, you can provide value in two ways. As pain relievers, that means we can solve or relieve the problems the customers are facing, or like gain creators, we can make things easier for the customers. This is a framework based on Strategizer, which is a company developing their own design thinking process. And this framework shows that here we can describe the customer with the customer jobs, the pains they have and the gains, whatever they want to achieve. And this is the product, and the product is the product and the service is bringing pain relievers or gain creators. During this presentation, I'm going to show a few examples of this kind of framework so you can start working with that. Probably talking about business design is a very big topic, and we don't have enough time, but I'm going to give you some hints and some instructions to start working with these methodologies. And it's not working. There? Okay. Why is value for the customer so important? Because it's a key element for success. Creating real value for the customers is probably the most important thing to create something that has any chance of succeeding. And it's also the foundation for any business. If you want to run a proper business operation, proper marketing, proper communication, monetization, customer acquisition, your value proposition has to be really strong. Because if not, nobody's going to use that. And neither marketing or business operations can solve that, okay? Let's take this is another framework to start working with. This is the business model canvas, and this is an abstract representation of the main aspect of a business, and this is a really popular tool for business designers. And here you can see that in the middle this is the value proposition, and then you have the customer segments, and all the designers always start with this relationship. So this is the core of every business design process. Okay, I've taken these pics on the plane coming here, and this is like a good example of why the value is so important. At the left, we can see that there's a clear value. Why Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin is going to the moon, so probably you will earn a lot of money. This is a really nice value proposition, I guess, for many people, and it's clear, and you can understand what these people is doing. And probably if you're interested in earning money with Bitcoin, you will go to this coin shop, and you will buy some Bitcoin. What is the value proposition in the right? Can anybody say? There's nothing. There's no value proposition. It's like some kind of blockchain application, but you don't know what is the value for the customer. Why are you going there? Why are you taking time to go to this website to try it? Maybe the batteries are low or something like that. Yeah.
Just a second.
I think that there is one of the most important persons you doing design here. Okay, doing design, and not just business design but also UX design, said that you can put lipstick in a pig. So design is about that. It's about not creating pigs but real things. Okay. Creating real value for customers. So if we have a customer-centered approach, we have to understand that the value provided by any technology depends on how it helps customers, both relieving pains or providing gains. So for the blockchain, we need to understand how the blockchain as a new technology can help customers. I will explain a basic framework for that. It's still a work in progress. So the first thing that we have to understand, and this is real the core of the issue, is that any technology has three aspects. Basically the feature, the technical characteristics of the technology, the advantages and the benefits, or the value provided by the technology. The blockchain has many features, which brings many advantages. I'm going to go through some of them. Of course, this is already changing because, for instance, in the Ethereum, people are issuing new kind of tokens. And as long as the technology evolves, probably we will have more advantages, and this means more value for the customers. But for instance, the fact that one advantage of the blockchain comes from immutability. Nobody can change whatever is recorded in the blockchain, unless you have 51% control of the network. Another advantage is transparency. Everybody can see what is happening in the blockchain. Okay, already working, thank you. And basically this comes from the technical feature that the whole ledger is fully available for the people. Another advantage of the blockchain is the middleman removal. This comes from a very specific feature of the blockchain, which is the centralization of storage and computing. In this part, I have to say that I think that the decentralization is right now just a technical feature. Decentralization is a concept for IT, for system management, and I still waiting for somebody to explain how decentralization can be applied to social management, because this is complicated, but this is something we can speak later. Another feature is tokenization. We can create unique digital assets, impossible to falsify, and this brings securitization. And securitization, together with immutability, prevents the double spending problem that is a real nice advantage of the blockchain, because you can pay with tokens and there is no problem, there is no chance for hacking or any chance for any kind of mistake, like in the regular digital payment systems. Another advantage is pseudo-anonymity, which brings from fact that each user is on the blockchain identified just by an alphanumerical string. So people are not anonymous, but pseudo-anonymous. They can operate on the blockchain using a disguised identity. And also, in the case of Ethereum, for instance, the feature of smart contracts brings another great advantage, which is automation. So, here comes the important thing. The benefit for customers of the blockchain comes from the advantages of the blockchain and its features, but the value provided by the technology depends always on the context. There is no universal value for the customers on the blockchain, but a specific value for specific customers depending on the context. And I'm going to give some examples from some business to understand this approach. First, for instance, in the supply chain business, one of the main problems of the supply chain business is the bullwhip effect. This means basically that people can see the whole supply chain, so they can foresee the allocation of resources, and this brings a lot of inefficiencies at a high cost. This is something that every professional on the supply chain is fighting daily. And many companies, big companies, are creating like a grid monsters of software to try to prevent that. But the blockchain, because of the advantage of transparency and immutability, solves that by design. This is why so many people is coming into the supply chain with blockchain solutions. It's perfect for that. For instance, e-commerce business, or you can say marketplace-based business models. Usually the marketplace is controlled by a single player, which is usually charging high fees. For instance, if you go to Amazon, the fees are like 11%, and many small and medium enterprises are basically leaving Amazon because it's not profitable. The profit margin is really low. Because of the decentralized storage and computing, you don't need a central player controlling the whole ecosystem, so you can raise down the fees a lot. And this is a real benefit, real value for the customers. Another example, pseudonymity applied to a customer pain. Right now, people are actually really worried about data leaks and bad behavior for companies. Here I have to disagree from the first speaker. I think that people doesn't give a shit for privacy in most cases, but if you check the evolution of ad blockers, you can understand that this is a growing tendency and a growing boycott on, for instance, ads. This is about privacy also, so people are actually worrying about that, not as much as we would like, but they are worrying. And the benefit that the value that blockchain brings to this pain is that you can interact with whatever software you want with a disguised identity. This is why so many people are also working on digital IDs solutions over the blockchain. And the last one is finance and accounting. We are used to see many financial applications of the blockchain, but the applications for accounting are not that popular or that common. Accounting is really difficult in the companies because you have to handle a lot of invoices, a lot of middlemen people, you have to be in contact with the banks, payment gateways, whatever. And usually big companies, especially big companies, are using complex software solutions for that. Thanks to the three advantages of the blockchain, like transparency, immutability, and tokenization, you can ease the work of people. Here you are working probably not only on the customer pains, but also on the customer gains. You can make things easier because right now people have the software to do that. But if you can do that on a better, probably the value for the customer will increase, and this is always a win for any company. So, what is the insight from this? The customer value, okay, is created in the interaction between blockchain features and advantages and customer needs. This means helping people doing something really helpful. And it's all about context. We can copy a blockchain solution from a business or an industry and bring that automatically to another industry. You have to first to explore customer needs, because there is no a single customer, every customer is different, every industry is different, so you have to explore that. And we are on the start of the journey. We're starting to realize how the blockchain is bringing value to the people. We are starting to realize how, let's say, decentralized communities can bring value to the people, to the customers and the people out there. So we are at the start of the journey, but we need the framework. We need to clarify concepts, and we need to remove bullshit. Okay, so because there is a lot of bullshit out there, so we have to set up the foundations for a proper thinking about value on the blockchain and how it works. Okay, I've been going quickly through the slides because right now I would like you to ask whatever you want. I'm just going to explain a few methodologies to start working with this process. Basically, designing a business is complex. It's like a process. It's called like going from the chaos, from a question through a chaos to a final solution. But luckily, we have many methodologies for that. Okay. Mostly coming from design thinking. This is a typical design thinking process with all the questions you have to, all the phases you have to go through. What is, what if, what goes, and what works. This is taken from Jan Litka and Tino Gilby work, and there were some books here. I think this is the old presentation. Anyway, you can approach me, and I will give you some bibliography to start working with. And this is my proposal for you. I think this is everything I wanted to say today. This is basically the. Okay, 2 minutes. Great. This is basically my proposal for the creating nice and useful blockchain applications. It's nothing new. I'm not inventing anything. I'm just bringing the tool that people are using in other legacy digital companies, and bringing that into the blockchain just to start working with that. And designing is a real nice way to bring together customers and developers and to evolve the technology into something that has a real impact in the world. So I think that this is really interesting to try these methodologies. In fact, we are starting I'm starting to collaborate with some people to run design challenges in Spain. I'm from Spain. Also, I live in Switzerland, but I'm from Spain. And also collaborating with other people in other countries to start running design challenges using the blockchain technology to solve people's needs. And I think that the result is going to be really interesting. And that's everything from my side. Now it's up to you to ask whatever you want. Nothing?
So I think I talked about the ugly phase that we're in. We're kind of in a very ugly phase as a customer user, especially if you want to buy cryptocurrencies. It's not very easy. The wallets are not very user-friendly or beautiful. Even the hard wallets are difficult. So how do we get there? Do you have any ideas of like what we can do to make things more beautiful? And
I think that's a really interesting question, because right now many blockchain applications are lacking proper UX design. I think design is a way of thinking on the customer needs, first researching what the customer wants and needs, and after that you can provide the real value. So I think that we need more UX designers, much more UX designers in the blockchain industry. And UX designers are people already trained in these kind of methodologies. And I think right now I'm speaking just about design thinking, but I could speak also about UX design, which is basically using the same approach for creating great interfaces that people really love.
Any questions?
Okay, I have one quick question. Do you think that banks and all these big corporations will allow this kind of technology to implement in our life in the future?
The banks, why not? I don't think that banks have the power to stop startups and people.
The governments
And the governments, and I don't think that the governments are going to stop that. I think that the governments right now are basically worried about customer protection. All the regulation that is coming is just about customer protection, at least in democratic countries like Europe or US and whatever. And this is the main issue. I've been involved, for instance, I have some experience in the digital world. I was involved in the equity crowdfunding ecosystem many years ago. And it was the same. When the equity crowdfunding came around, it was like a really innovative way to fund companies. Something similar to an ICO but without tokens. And when the regulator came around and started to set up some rules in Europe at least, its main concern was customer protection. So I think that right now the governments are just worrying about that. They are not going to forbid that technology by itself. They're just going to forbid the scammers, which is, in my opinion, great.
So actually, as a follow-up to that, we just left Zurich, and we were at a blockchain conference that was specifically for the banks. And one of the biggest problems they said that the banks have is they want to own the IP. So if they can't own the intellectual property in an open source system, they really don't have anything to do with it. One thing the banks are trying to do, so there's a panel of banks, UBS, Credit Suisse, and a bunch of other guys. And I think what they're trying to do is more or less like custodianship of your private keys because it's so difficult. I think people are scared, security-wise, that they're going to lose their crypto or they're going to lose their Bitcoin or whatever it is. So the same way, their argument, this is their argument, not necessarily my argument, but they think the same way you're afraid to hold cash, you're going to be afraid to hold your own Bitcoin and your private keys. So they should be the ones to hold your private keys for you. That's, I think, what their argument, right? So.
Can I answer that? As a bank, I know I don't look like this. So I have two replies to that. So first of all, why would you give your private key, which is key to everything, to some corrupt bank? First of all, I mean, then you give your private key to CIA. I'm just joking, but and the second of things, banks don't care. I mean, why would bank care about IP? They only care about the money. If they can get a transaction fee, I don't care. As a banker, I don't care. We were all about the money.
Well,
To be honest.
Bank of America owns, they actually have more patents on blockchain technologies than any group in the world right now.
Yeah.
And they're an American nation, so.
Talking from the business model perspective, which is my keynote, I think that the blockchain as a technology is changing the way you can provide value in the financial services in many ways. I think that other ways are not changed by the blockchain because it are basically political issues. For instance, in the European Union, in USA, if you want to be a bank, you need a license. And the license is not something easy to do because the main business of a bank is not transferring money or storing money. The main business of a bank is issuing loans, and they are money creators. And so, as long as you have a license, you can issue a loan. If not, you are just a money mover. You are just moving money, and this is not the real business model of a bank. Probably the banks are willing to update their systems to make this money moving easier and cheaper, but the thing is that the business model of the blockchain, of the banks, is protected by law, by the government. And it's okay because banks are really important for our economy, so we need regulation, we need something in charge. I don't think that the decentralization of loans will work, or maybe it's something dangerous. It is something we have to think about, okay?
Can I just add?
Yeah?
So just to the comment about banks and any market infrastructure, any financial services, IP for someone on a trading floor, they don't care because they're making money trading, I agree with you. But absolutely, IP is a major component of the valuation of a company overall. So anyone who thinks that an intellectual property patent book is not important should go back and check, because it can be substantive, which is why banks and all of these other companies, by the way, Amazon, MasterCard, they've all filed patent filings on crypto. Why? Because if there's a chance that they can monetize some of this down the road by charging any of you who touches their patent, they will. But ultimately, here's the other problem. The entire patent industry right now is a racket. It's completely dysfunctional. And so we need to really have a rethink around the entire intellectual property concept. But it's a reality. It's more money, and big corporations fight for it. And they'll come after you if you think for a second. If they think for a second, they can make money. So please, it's not a trivial one.
Thank you.